To sing a song that old was sung, from ashes ancient Gower is come, assuming man's infirmities to glad your ear and please your eyes. If you, born in these latter times, when wit's more ripe, accept my rhymes, I life would wish, and that I might waste it for you like taper light. This Antioch then, Antiochus the Great built up this city for his chiefest seat. This king unto him took a peer who died and left a female heir, with whom the father liking took, and her to incest did provoke. A sinful father, to entice his own to evil should be done by none. But custom what they did begin was with long use accounted no sin. The beauty of this sinful dame made many princes thither frame to seek her as a bedfellow, in marriage pleasure's playfellow, which to prevent he made a law, to keep her still and men in awe, that whoso asked her for his wife, his riddle told not, lost his life. So for her many a wight did die. What now ensues, to the judgment of your eye, I give my cause. Who best can justify?
Young Prince of Tyre, you have at large received the danger of the task you undertake.
I have, Antiochus, and with a soul emboldened with the glory of her praise, think death no hazard in this enterprise.
Bring in our daughter, clothed like a bride, for embracements even of Jove himself, at whose conception, till Lucina reigned, nature this dowry gave.
See where she comes, apparelled like the spring, graces her subjects and her thoughts, the king of every virtue gives renown to men. You gods that made me man and sway in love, that have inflamed desire in my breast to taste the fruit of yon celestial tree or die the adventure, be my helps, as I am son and servant to your will to compass such a boundless happiness.
Prince Pericles,
that would be son to great Antiochus.
Before thee stands this fair Hesperides with golden fruit, but dangerous to be touched, for death-like dragons here affright thee hard. Her face, like heaven, enticeth thee to view her countless glory, which desert must gain, and which without desert, because thine eye presumes to reach, all the whole heap must die.
Antiochus, I thank thee, who hath taught my frail mortality to know itself. For death remembered should be like a mirror, who tells us life's but breath, to trust it, error. I'll make my will then, and as sick men do, so I bequeath a happy peace to you, and all good men, as every prince should do. My riches to the earth from whence they came, but my unspotted fire of love to you. Thus, ready for the way of life or death, I wait the sharpest blow.
Scorning advice, read the conclusion then, which read and not expounded, 'tis decreed, as those before thee thou thyself shalt bleed.
Of all said yet, mayst thou prove prosperous. Of all said yet, I wish thee happiness.
Like a bold champion, I assume the lists, nor ask advice of any other thought but faithfulness and courage. I am no viper, yet I feed on mother's flesh which did me breed. I sought a husband in which labor I found that kindness in a father. He's father, son, and husband mild, I, mother, wife, and yet his child. How they may be, and yet in two, as you will live, resolve it you. Sharp physic is the last. But oh, you powers that give heaven countless eyes to view men's acts, why cloud they not their sights perpetually, if this be true, which makes me pale to read it? Fair glass of light, I loved you, and could still, were not this glorious casket stored with ill. But I must tell you now, my thoughts revolt. For he's no man on whom perfections wait, that knowing sin within will touch the gate.
Prince Pericles, upon thy life, thy time's expired. Either expound now or receive your sentence.
Great king, few love to hear the sins they love to act. 'Twould brand yourself too near for me to tell it. Who has a book of all that monarchs do, he's more secure to keep it shut than show. For vice repeated is like a wandering wind, blows dust in others' eyes to spread itself. Kings are earth's gods. In vice, their laws, their will. And if Jove stray, who dares say Jove doth ill? It is enough you know, and it is fit, what being more known grows worse, to smother it. All love the womb that their first being held, then give my tongue like leave to love my head.
Heaven, that I had thy head. He has found the meaning. Though by the tenor of our strict edict your exposition misinterpreting, we might proceed to cancel of your days, yet hope, succeeding from so fair a tree as your fair self, doth tune us otherwise. 40 days longer as we do respite you, if by which time our secret be undone, this mercy shows will joy in such a son.
How courtesy would seem to cover sin, when what is done is like an hypocrite, the which is good in nothing but in sight. If it be true that I interpret false, then were it certain you were not so bad as with foul incest to abuse your soul. Where now you're both a father and a son by your untimely claspings with your child, which pleasure fits a husband, not a father. One sin I know another doth provoke, murders as near to lust as flame to smoke. Then, lest my life be cropped to keep you clear, by flight I'll shun the danger which I fear.
He hath found the meaning for which we mean to have his head. He must not tell the world Antiochus doth sin in such a loathed manner, and therefore instantly this prince must die. Who attends us there?
Doth your highness call?
Thalyard, you are of our chamber, Thalyard, and our mind partakes her private actions to your secrecy. And for your faithfulness, we will advance you, Thalyard. Behold, here's poison, and here's gold. We hate the Prince of Tyre, and thou must kill him. It fits thee not to ask the reason why, because we bid it. Say, is it done?
My lord, 'tis done.
Enough. Let your breath cool yourself, telling your haste.
My lord, Prince Pericles is fled.
Thou wilt live, fly after, and like an arrow shot from a well-experienced archer hits the mark his eye doth level at, so thou never return unless thou say Prince Pericles is dead.
My lord, if I can get him within my pistol's length, I'll make him sure enough. So, farewell. Farewell, your highness.
Thaliard, adieu, till Pericles be dead. My heart can lend no succor to my head.
Let none disturb us. Why should this change of thoughts, this sad companion, dull-eyed melancholy, be my so used a guest that not an hour in the day's glorious walk, or peaceful night, the tomb where grief should sleep, can breed me quiet? Here, pleasures court mine eyes, and mine eyes shun them. And danger, which I feared, is at Antioch, whose arm seems far too short to hit me here. Yet neither pleasure's art can joy my spirits, nor yet the other's distance comfort me. Then it is thus: the great Antiochus, against whom I am too little to contend, since he's so great, can make his will his act. Will think me speaking, though I swear to silence, and what may make him blush in being known, he'll stop the course by which it might be known. With hostile forces, he'll o'erspread the land. Our men he'll vanquish ere they do resist, and subjects punish that ne'er thought offense. Which care of them? Not pity of myself makes both my body pine and soul to languish, and punish that before that he would punish.
Joy and all comfort in your sacred rest.
And keep your mind till you return to us peaceful and comfortable.
Peace, peace, and give experience tongue. They do abuse the king that flatter him. For flattery is the bellows blows up sin, whereas reproof, obedient and in order, fits kings as they are men, for they may err. When Signor Sooth here does proclaim peace, he flatters you, makes war upon your life.
All leave us else. But let your cares o'erlook what's shipping and what ladings in our haven, and then return to us. Helicanus, thou hast moved us. What seest thou in our looks?
An angry brow, dread lord.
If there be such a dart in prince's frowns, how durst thy tongue move anger to our face?
How dares the plants look up to heaven, from whence they have their nourishment?
Thou knowest I have power to take thy life from thee.
I have ground the axe myself. Do you but strike the blow.
Heaven forbid that kings should let their ears hear their faults hid. Fit counselor and servant for a prince, who by their wisdom makes a prince thy servant, what wouldst thou have me do?
To bear with patience such griefs as you yourself do lay upon yourself.
Thou speakst like a physician, Helicanus, that ministers a potion unto me that thou wouldst tremble to receive thyself. Attend me then. I went to Antioch, where, as thou knowest, against the face of death, I sought the purchase of a glorious beauty. Her face was to mine eye beyond all wonder. The rest, hark in thine ear, as ill as incest, which by my knowledge found the sinful father seemed not to strike, but smooth. But thou knowest this, 'tis time to fear when tyrants seem to kiss. Which fear so grew in me, I hither fled under the covering of a careful knight, who seemed my good protector. And being here, bethought me what was past, and what might succeed, when all for mine, if I may call it, offense, must feel war's blow, who spares not innocence. Which love to all, of which thyself art one, who now reprovest me for it,
Sir,
drew sleep out of mine eyes, blood from my cheeks, musings into my mind with thousand doubts, how I might stop this tempest ere it came. And finding little comfort to relieve them, I thought it princely charity to grieve for them.
well, my lord, Since you have given me leave to speak, freely will I speak. Antiochus you fear, and justly too, I think you fear the tyrant, who either by public war or private treason will take away your life. Therefore, my lord, go travel for a while, till that his rage and anger be forgot, or till the destinies do cut his thread of life. Your rule direct to any, if to me, day serves not light more faithful than I'll be.
I do not doubt thy faith, but should he wrong my liberties in my absence?
We'll mingle our bloods together in the earth from whence we had our being and our birth.
Tyre I now look from thee then, and to Tarshish intend my travel, where I'll hear from thee, and by whose letters I'll dispose myself. The care I had and have of subjects good, on thee I lay, whose wisdom's strength can bear it.
So this is Tyre, and this the court. Here must I kill King Pericles, and if I do not, I am sure to be hanged at home. 'Tis dangerous. Well, I perceive he was a wise fellow and had good discretion, that being bid to ask what he would of the king, desired he might know none of his secrets. Now I do see he had some reason for it, for if a king bid a man be a villain, he's bound by the indenture of his oath to be one. Hush! Here comes the lords of Tyre.
You shall not need, my fellow peers of Tyre, further to question me of your king's departure. His sealed commission left in trust with me does speak sufficiently. He's gone to travel.
How? The king's gone?
If further yet you will be satisfied, why, as it were, unlicensed of your loves, he would depart, I'll give some light unto you. Being at Antioch.
What from Antioch?
Royal Antiochus, on what cause I know not, took some displeasure at him, at least he judged so, and doubting lest he had erred or sinned, to show his sorrow he'd correct himself, so puts himself unto the shipman's toil, with whom each minute threatens life or death.
Well, I perceive I shall not be hanged now, although I would, but since he's gone, the king's ears it must please. He's escaped the land to perish at the sea. I'll present myself. Peace to the lords of Tyre.
Lord Thaliard from Antiochus is welcome.
From him I come with message unto princely Pericles, but since my landing I have understood your lord has betook himself to unknown travels. Now message must return from whence it came.
We have no reason to desire it. Commended to our master, not to us, yet ere you shall depart, this we desire. As friends to Antioch, we may feast in Tyre.
My Dionysa, shall we rest us here and by relating tales of others' griefs see if 'twill teach us to forget our own?
That were to blow at fire and hope to quench it. For who digs hills because they do aspire, throws down one mountain to cast up a higher. My distressed lord, even such our griefs are.
Oh, Dionysa, who wanteth food and will not say he wants it, or can conceal his hunger till he famish? If heavens slumber while their creatures want, they may awake their helpers to comfort them. I'll then discourse our woes, felt several years, and wanting breath to speak. Help me with tears.
I'll do my best, sir.
This Tarsus, for which I have the government, a city on whom plenty held full hand, for riches strewed herself even in the streets, whose towers bore heads so high they kissed the clouds, and strangers ne'er beheld, but wondered at. Our tables were stored full to glad the sight, and not so much to feed on as delight. All poverty was scorned, and pride so great the name of help grew odious to repeat.
Oh, 'tis too true.
But see what heaven can do by this our change. These months, those mouths who but of late earth, sea, and air were all too little to content and please, would now be glad of bread and beg for it. These mothers, who to nuzzle up their babes thought not too curious, are ready now to eat these little darlings whom they loved. So sharp are hunger's teeth that man and wife draw lots to first shall die to lengthen life. Here many sink, yet those who see them fall have scarce strength enough to give them burial. Is this not true?
Our cheeks and hollow eyes do witness it.
Oh, let those cities that of plenty's cup and her prosperities so largely taste with their superfluous riots hear these tears. The misery of Tarsus may be theirs.
Where is the Lord Governor?
Here, speak out thy sorrows, which thee bringst in haste, for comfort is far too much for us to expect.
We have descried upon our neighboring shore a portly sail of ships make hitherward.
I thought as much. One sorrow never comes but brings an heir, and so in ours. Some neighboring nation, taking advantage of our misery, hath stuffed the hollowed vessels with their power to beat us down, the which are down already.
That's the least fear, for by the semblance of their white flags displayed, they bring us peace, and come to us as favorers, not as foes.
Thou speakst like him untutored to repeat, who makes the fairest show means most deceit. But bring they what they will and what they can, what need we fear? The ground's the lowest, and we are halfway there. Go, tell their general we attend him here to know from what he comes.
I go, my lord.
Welcome is peace, if he on peace consist. If wars, we are unable to resist.
Lord Governor, for so we hear you are, let not our ships and number of our men be like a beacon fired to amaze your eyes. We've heard your miseries as far as Tyre and seen the desolation of your streets. Nor come we to add sorrow to your tears, but to relieve them of their heavy load. These ships are stored with corn to make your bread, and give them life whom hunger starved half dead.
The gods of Greece protect you, and we'll pray for you.
But arise, arise, I pray you, rise. We do not look for reverence, but for love. And for harborage, for ourself, our ships and men.
Which when any shall not gratify or pay you with unthankfulness in thought, be it our wives, our children, or ourselves, the curse of heaven and men succeed their evils, till when, which I hope shall ne'er be seen, your grace is welcome to our town and us.
Which welcome we'll accept. We'll feast here a while until our stars that frowned lend us a smile.
Here have you seen a mighty king, his child it wis to incest bring. A better prince and benign lord is still at Tarsus, where each man thinks all is writ he speaking can. And to remember what he does, build his statue to make him glorious. But tidings to the contrary are brought your eyes. What need speak I?
Dumb show. Enter Pericles, talking with Cleon. Enter a gentleman with a letter to Pericles. Pericles shows the letter to Cleon. Pericles gives the messenger a reward and knights him. Pericles exits at one side, and Cleon at another.
Good Helicane that stayed at home, not to eat honey like a drone, but to fulfill his prince's desire, sends word of all that haps in Tyre. How Thaliard came full bent with sin and had intent to murder him, and that in Tarsus was not best longer for him to make his rest. He, doing so, put forth to seas where, when men been there, seldom ease. For now the wind begins to blow, thunder above and deeps below make such unquiet that the ship should house him safe is wrecked and split, and he, good prince, having all lost, by waves from coast to coast is tossed, till fortune, tired with doing bad, threw him ashore to give him glad. And here he comes. What shall be next? Pardon, old Gower, this long's the text.
Yet cease your ire, you angry stars of heaven. Wind, rain, and thunder, remember, earthly man is but a substance that must yield to you, and I, as fits my nature, do obey you. Alas, the seas hath cast me on the shores, washed me from shore to shore, and left my breath nothing to think on but ensuing death. Let it suffice the greatness of your powers to have bereft a prince of all his fortunes, and having thrown him from your watery grave, here to have death in peace is all he'll crave.
What how, Pilch?
Pat, come and bring away the nets.
What patch breach, I say?
Oh, it's you, master.
Look how thou stirrest now. Come away, or I'll fetch thee with the wanyan.
Faith, master, I am thinking of the poor men that were cast away before us even now.
Alas, poor souls. It grieved my heart to hear what pitiful cries they made to us to help them, when well a day we could scarce help ourselves.
Master, I marvel how the fishes live in the sea.
Why, as men do a land, the great ones eat up the little ones. I can compare our rich misers to nothing so fitly as to a whale. He plays and tumbles, driving the poor fry before him, and at last devours them all at a mouthful. Such whales have I heard on of the land, who never leave gaping till they have swallowed the whole parish, church, steeple, bells, and all.
A pretty moral.
If the good King Simonides were of my mind,
Simonides?
we would purge the land of these drones that rob the bee of her honey.
How from the finny subject of the sea these fishers tell the infirmities of men, and from their watery empire recollect all that may men approve or men detect. Peace be at your labor, honest fishermen.
Honest, good fellow? What's that?
The sea hath cast upon your coast.
What a drunken knave was the sea to cast thee in our way.
A man whom both the waters and the wind in that vast tennis court hath made the ball for them to play upon, entreats you to pity him.
Canst thou catch any fishes then?
I never practiced it.
Nay, then thou wilt starve sure, for here's nothing to be got nowadays, unless thou canst fish for it.
What I have been, I have forgot to know. but what I am, want teaches me to think on. A man thronged up with cold. My veins are chill, and I have no more of life than may suffice to give my tongue that heat to ask your help. Which, if you shall refuse when I am dead, for that I'm a man, pray you see me buried.
Die, quotha. The gods forbid, and I have a gown. Here, come, put it on. Keep thee warm. Now afore me a handsome fellow. Come. Thou shalt go home, and we'll have flesh for holidays, fish for fasting days, and more o'er, puddings and flapjacks, and thou shalt be welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Hark you, sir. Do you know where you are?
Not well.
Why, I'll tell you. This is called Pentapolis, and our king the good Simonides.
The good Simonides, you call him.
Aye, sir. And he deserves so to be called, for his peaceable reign and good government.
He is a happy king, since he gains from his subjects the name of good by his government. How far is his court distant from this shore?
Marries, sir, half a day's journey. And I'll tell you, he hath a fair daughter, and tomorrow is her birthday. And there are princes and knights come from all parts of the world to joust and tourney for her love.
Were my fortunes equal to my desire, I could wish to make one there.
Oh, sir, things must be as they may, and what a man cannot get, he may lawfully deal for his wife's soul.
Help, master, help. Here's a fish hangs in the net like a poor man's right in the law. 'Twill hardly come out. Broadside, 'tis come at last, and 'tis turned to a rusty armor.
An armor, friends? I pray you, let me see it. Thanks, fortune, yet that after all thy crosses, thou givest me somewhat to repair myself. And though it was mine own, part of my heritage, which my dead father did bequeath to me, with this strict charge, even as he left his life. Keep it, my Pericles. It hath been a shield twixt me and death, and pointed to this brace. For that it saved me, keep it. In like necessity, the which gods protect thee from, may it defend thee. It kept where I kept. I so dearly loved it. Till the rough seas that spares not any man took it in rage, though calmed have given it again. I thank thee for it. My shipwreck now's no ill, since I have here my father gave its will.
What mean you, sir?
To beg of you, kind friends, this coat of worth, for it were sometime target to a king. I know it by this mark. He loved me dearly, and for his sake I wish the having of it. And that you guide me to your sovereign's court, where with it I may appear a gentleman. And if that ever my low fortunes better, I'll pay your bounties. Till then, rest your debtor.
Why, wilt thou tourney for the lady?
I'll show the virtue I have borne in arms.
Or do we take it, and the gods give thee good aunt?
Ay, but hark you, my friend, 'twas we that made up the scarmage through the rough seams of the waters. I hope, sir, if you thrive, you'll remember from whence you had it.
Believe it, I will.
I'll bring thee to the court myself.
Then honor be but a goal to my will. This day I'll rise, or else add ill to ill.
Are the knights ready to begin the triumph?
They are, my liege. Stay your coming to present themselves.
Return them. We are ready, and our daughter here, in honor of whose birth these triumphs are, sits here like beauty's child, whom nature gat for men to see, and seeing, wonder at.
It pleaseth you, my royal father, to express my commendations great, whose merits less.
It's fit it should be so, for princes are a model which heaven makes like to itself. As jewels lose their glory if neglected, so princes their renowns if not respected. 'Tis now your honor, daughter, to entertain the labor of each knight in his device.
Which to preserve mine honor I'll perform.
Who is the first that doth prefer himself?
A prince of Macedon, my royal father, and the device he bears upon his shield is a knight that's conquered by a lady. The motto thus in Spanish, Pui per dolere qui per forza.
And what's the second?
He of Antioch, and his device a wreath of chivalry, the word mi pompe prevexit apex.
What is the third?
A burning torch that's turned upside down, the word qui mi elite mi extinguit.
Which shows that beauty hath his power and will, which can as well inflame as it can kill.
The fourth, and hand environed with clouds, holding out gold that's by the touchstone tried. The motto thus, sic spectanda fidus.
And what's the fifth and last, the which the knight himself with such a graceful courtesy delivered?
He seems to be a stranger, but his present is a withered branch that's only green at top. The motto, en hac spe vivo.
A pretty moral. From the dejected state wherein he is, he hopes by you his fortune yet may flourish.
He had need mean better than his outward show can any way speak in his just commend.
He may well be a stranger, for he comes to an honored triumph strangely furnished.
And on set purpose let his armor rust until this day they scour it with dust.
Opinions but a fool that makes us scan the outward habit by the inward man. But stay, the knights are coming. We will withdraw into the gallery.
The mean knight!
Where's
Wow,
it was really
I'm amazed.
Knights, to say your welcome were superfluous. To place upon the volume of your deeds as in a title page, your worth in arms were more than you expect or more than's fit. Since every worth in show commends itself, prepare for mirth becomes a feast. You are princes and my guests.
But you, my knight and guest, to whom this due of victory I give, and crown you king of this day's happiness.
More by fortune, lady, than by my merit.
Call it by what you will, the day is yours. And here, I hope, is none that envies it. Come, queen of the feast, here, daughter, take your place. Marshal the rest as they deserve their grace.
We are honored much by good Simonides.
Your presence glads our days. Honor we love, for who hates honor hates the gods above.
Sir, yonder is your place.
Some other is more fit.
Tand not, sir, for we are gentlemen have neither in our hearts nor outward eyes envies the great, nor shall the low despise.
You are right courteous knights.
By Juno, that is queen of marriage, all viands that I do eat seem unsavory, wishing him my meat. Sure, he's a gallant gentleman.
He's but a country gentleman, has no more than other knights have done, has broken a staff or so let it pass.
To me, he seems like diamond to glass.
Yon king's to me like to my father's picture, which tells in that glory once he was. Had princes sit like stars about his throne, and he the sun for them to reverence. Where now his son's like a glowworm in the night, which hath fire in darkness, none in light.
What? Are you merry, knights?
Who can be other in this royal presence?
Here, with a cup that's stored unto the brim, we drink this health to you.
We thank your grace.
Yet, pause a while. Yon knight doth sit too melancholy, as if the entertainment in our court had not a show might countervail his worth. Note it not you, Ty-eesa.
What is to me, my father?
Oh, attend, my daughter. Princes in this should live like gods above, who freely give to everyone that come to honor him. Here, say we drink this standing bowl of wine to him.
Alas, my father, it befits not me unto a stranger knight to be so bold. He may my proffer take for an offense, since men take women's gifts for impudence.
How? Do as I bid you, or you'll move me else.
Now, by the gods, he could not please me better.
And furthermore, tell him we desire to know of him, of whence he is, and his name and parentage.
The king, my father, sir, has drunk to you.
I thank him.
Wishing it so much blood unto your life.
I thank both him and you, and pledge him freely.
And further, he desires to know of you of whence you are, your name and parentage.
Gentleman of Tyre. My name is Pericles. My education been in arts and arms, who, looking for adventures in the world, was by the rough seas reft of ships and men, and after a shipwreck, driven upon this shore.
He thanks your grace, names himself Pericles, a gentleman of Tyre, who by misfortune of the rough seas, reft of ships and men, cast on this shore.
Now, by the gods, I pity his misfortune. Thanks, gentlemen, to all have done well, but you the best.
I am at your grace's pleasure.
Princes! It is too late to talk of love, and that's the mark I know you level at. Therefore, each one betake him to his rest. Tomorrow, all for speeding do their best.
No, Aeschines, know this of me. Antiochus from incest lived not free, for which the most high gods, not minding longer to withhold the vengeance that they had in store, due to this heinous capital offense, even in the height and pride of all his glory, when he was seated in a chariot of an inestimable value, and his daughter with him, fire from heaven came and shriveled up those bodies even to loathing, for they so stunk that all those eyes adored them ere their fall. Scorn now their hands should give them burial.
It was very strange.
And yet but justice, for though this king were great, his greatness was no guard to bar heaven's shaft, but sin had his reward.
It is very true.
See, not a man in private conference or council has respect with him, but he.
It shall no longer grieve without reproof.
And cursed be he that will not second it.
Follow me then. Lord Helicane, a word.
With me? And welcome. Happy day, my lords.
Know that our griefs are risen to the top, and now at length they overflow their banks.
Your griefs? For what? Wrong not your prince you love.
Wrong not yourself, then, noble Helicane. But if the prince do live, let us salute him, or know what grounds made happy by his breath. If in the world he live, we'll seek him out. If in his grave he rest, we'll find him there, and be resolved he lives to govern us, or dead, gives cause to mourn his funeral and leave us to our free election.
Whose death's indeed the strongest in our censure, and knowing this kingdom is without a head, like goodly buildings left without a roof, soon fall to ruin. Your noble self, that best know how to rule and how to reign, we thus submit unto our sovereign.
Live, noble Helicane.
Try honor's cause, forbear your suffrages. If that you love Prince Pericles, forbear. Take I your wish, I leap into the seas, where's hourly trouble for a minute's ease. A 12-month longer, let me entreat you to forbear the absence of your king. If, in which time expired, he not return, I shall with aged patience bear your yoke. But if I cannot win you to this love, go search like noble subjects, whom if you find and win unto return, you shall like diamonds sit about his crown.
To wisdom he's a fool that will not yield, and since Lord Helicane enjoineth us, we with our travels will endeavor.
Then you love us, we you, and will clasp hands. When peers thus knit, a kingdom ever stands.
Good morrow to the good Simonides.
Knights, from my daughter this I let you know, that for this 12-month shall not undertake a married life. Her reason to herself is only known, from her by no means can I get.
Maybe not get access to her, my lord.
Faith by no means. She hath so strictly tied her to her chamber that 'tis impossible. 12 moons more she'll wear Diana's livery. This by the eye of Cynthia hath she vowed, and on her virgin honor will not break it.
Loath to bid farewell, we take our leaves.
So, they are well dispatched. Now to my daughter's letter. She tells me here that she'll wed the stranger knight, or never more to view nor day nor light. 'Tis well, mistress, your choice agrees with mine. I like that well. Nay, how absolute she's in, not minding whether I dislike or no. Well, I do commend her choice, and will no longer have it delayed. Soft, here he comes. I must dissemble it.
All fortune to the good Simonides.
To you as much. Let me ask you one thing. What do you think of my daughter, sir?
Most virtuous princess.
My daughter thinks very well of you. So well that you must be her master, and she will be your scholar. Therefore, look to it.
I am unworthy to be her schoolmaster.
She thinks not so. Peruse this writing else.
What's here? The letter that she loves the knight of Tyre. 'Tis the king's subtlety to have my life. Oh, seek not to entrap me, gracious lord, a stranger and distressed gentleman that never aimed so high to love your daughter, but bent all offices to honor her.
Thou hast bewitched my daughter, and thou art a villain.
By the gods, I have not. Never did thought of mine levy offense, nor never did my actions yet commence a deed might gain her love or your displeasure.
Traitor, thou liest.
Traitor?
Aye, traitor.
Even in his throat, unless it be the king that calls me traitor, I return the lie.
Now by the gods, I do applaud his courage.
My actions are as noble as my thoughts, that never relished of a base descent. I came unto your court for honor's cause, and not to be a rebel to her state. And he that otherwise accounts of me, this sword shall prove that he is honor's enemy.
No, here comes my daughter. She can witness it.
Then, as you are virtuous as fair, resolve your angry father if my tongue did e'er solicit or my hand subscribe to any syllable that made love to you.
Why, sir, say if you had, who takes offense at that would make me glad?
Yea, mistress, are you so peremptory? I am glad on't with all my heart. I'll tame you. I'll bring you in subjection. Will you, not having my consent, bestow your love and your affections upon a stranger? who, for aught I know, may be, nor can I think the contrary, as great blood as myself. Therefore, hear you, mistress. Either frame your will to mine, and you, sir, hear you, either be ruled by me, or I'll make you man and wife. Nay, come, your hands and lips must seal it too, and being joined, I'll thus your hopes destroy. And for further grief, God give you joy. What? Are you both pleased?
Yes, if you love me, sir.
Even as my life, my blood that fosters it.
What are you both agreed?
Yes.
If it please your majesty.
It pleaseth me so well that I will see you wed, and then with what haste you can get you to bed. Now sleep is slacked hath the rout, no din but snores about the house, made louder by the o'erfed breast of this most pompous marriage feast. Hymen hath brought the bride to bed, where, by the loss of maidenhead, a babe is molded. Be attent, and time that is so briefly spent with your fine fancies quaintly eke. What's dumb in show, I'll plain with speech.
Dumb show. Enter Pericles and Simonides. A messenger meets them, kneels, and gives Pericles a letter. Pericles shows it to Simonides. Enter Thaisa, with child. With Lycorida, a nurse. The king shows her the letter. She rejoices. She and Pericles take leave of her father and depart, with Lycorida. Then Simonides and the others exit.
By many a dern and painful perch of Pericles, the careful search is made with all due diligence, that horse and sail and high expense can stead the quest. At last from Tyre, fame answering most strange inquire to the court of King Simonides, are letters brought, the tenor these. Antiochus and his daughter dead. The men of Tyrus on the head of Helicanus would set on the crown of Tyre, but he will none. The mutiny he there hastes to oppress says to him, if King Pericles come not home in twice 6 moons, he, obedient to their dooms, will take the crown. The sum of this brought hither to Pentapolis. Ravished the regions round, and everyone with claps can sound, our heir apparent is a king. Who dreamt, who thought of such a thing? Brief, he must hence depart to Tyre. His queen with child makes her desire, which who shall cross along to go? Omit we all their dole and woe. Lycorida, her nurse, she takes, and so to sea. Their vessel shakes on Neptune's billow. Fortune, moved, varies again. The grizzled north disgorges such a tempest forth that, as a duck for life that dives, so up and down the poor ship drives. The lady shrieks, and well anear does fall in travail with her fear. And what ensues in this fell storm shall for itself perform. I nil relate. Action may convey conveniently what the rest convey. With which might not what by me is told in your imagination hold. This stage, the ship upon whose deck the sea-tossed Pericles appears to speak.
God of this great vast, rebuke these surges which wash both heaven and hell. And thou that hast upon the winds command, bind them in brass, having called them from the deep. Oh, still thy deafening dreadful thunders, gently quench thy nimble sulphurous flashes. Oh, how, Lycorida? How does my queen? Lycorida! Lucina, divinest patroness and midwife gentle to those that cry by night, convey thy deity aboard our dancing boat. Make swift the pangs of my queen's travails. Now, Lycorida!
Here is a thing, too young for such a place, who, if it had conceit, would die as I am like to do. Take her in your arms, this piece of your dead queen.
How? How, Lycorida?
Patience, good sir, do not assist the storm. Here's all that is left living of your queen. A little daughter, for the sake of it, be manly and take comfort.
Oh, you gods. Why do you make us love your goodly gifts and snatch them straight away? We here below recall not what we give, and therein may use honor with you.
Patience, good sir, even for this charge.
Now, mild be thy life, for a more blusterous birth had never been. Quiet and gentle thy conditions, for thou art the rudeliest welcome to this world that ever was a prince's child. Happy what follows. Thou hast as chiding a nativity as fire, air, water, earth, and heaven can make to herald thee from the womb.
What courage, sir. God save you.
Courage enough. I do not fear the flaw that hath done to me the worst. Yet, for the love of this poor infant, this fresh new seafarer, I would it would be quiet.
Slack the bowlines there! Thou wilt not, wilt thou? Blow and split thyself.
Had we but sea room in the brine and cloudy billow kiss the moon, I care not.
Sir, your queen must overboard. The sea works high, the wind is loud, and will not lie till the ship be cleared of the dead.
That's your superstition.
Pardon us, sir. With us at sea it hath been still observed, and we are strong in custom. Therefore, briefly yield her, for she must overboard straight.
As you think meet. Most wretched queen.
Here she lies, sir.
Terrible childbed hast thou had, my dear. No light, no fire. The unfriendly elements forgot thee utterly. Nor have I time to give thee hallowed to thy grave, but straight must cast thee, scarcely coffined in the ooze. Bid Nestor bring me spices, ink, and paper. My casket and my jewels, and bid Nicander bring me the satin coffin. Hie thee, woman!
Sir, we have a chest beneath the hatches caulked and bitumed ready.
I thank thee, mariner. Say, what coast is this?
We are near Tarsus.
Thither, gentle mariner. Alter thy course for Tyre. When canst thou reach it?
By break of day, if the wind cease.
Oh, make for Tarsus. There will I visit Cleon, for the babe cannot hold out to Tyrus. And there I'll leave it at careful nursing. Go thy ways, good mariner. I'll bring the body presently.
Telamon, ho!
Doth my lord call?
Get fire and meat for these poor men. 'Tis been a turbulent and stormy night.
I have been in many, but such a night as this till now I ne'er endured.
Your master will be dead ere you return. There's nothing can be ministered to nature that can recover him. Give this to the apothecary and tell me how it works.
Good morrow.
Good morrow to your lordship.
Gentlemen, why do you stir so early?
Sir, our lodging standing bleak upon the sea shook as the earth did quake. Surprise and fear made me to quit the house.
That is the cause we trouble you so early. 'Tis not our husbandry.
Oh, you say well.
But I much marvel that your lordship, having rich Tyre about you, should at these early hours shake off repose. 'Tis strange.
I hold it ever, virtue and cunning were endowments greater than nobleness and riches. Careless heirs may the two latter darken and expend, but immortality attends the former, making a man a god. 'Tis known I ever studied physic, through which secret art by turning o'er authorities I have, together with my practice, made familiar to me to my aid the blessed infusions that can speak of the disturbances that nature works, and of her cures, which doth give me a more contented course of true delight than to be thirsty after tottering honor.
Your honor has through Ephesus poured forth your charity, and hundreds call themselves your creatures, who by you have been restored, and not your knowledge, your personal pain, but even your purse still open hath built Lord Cerimon such strong renown as time shall never decay.
So, lift there.
What's this?
'Tis like a...
Sir, even now did the sea toss upon our shore this chest. 'Tis of some wrack.
Sit down, let's look upon it.
'Tis like a coffin, sir.
Whate'er it be, 'tis wondrous heavy. Wrench it open straight. If the sea's stomach be o'ercharged with gold, 'tis a good constraint of fortune it belches upon us.
'Tis so, my lord.
How close 'tis caulked and bitumed. Did the sea cast it up?
I never saw so huge a billow, sir, as tossed it upon shore.
Wrench it open. Soft. It smells most sweetly in my sense.
A delicate odor.
As ever hit my nostril, so up with it. Oh, you most potent gods, what's here? A corse?
Most strange.
Shrouded in cloth of state, balmed and treasured with full bags of spices, a passport too. Apollo, perfect me the letters. Here I give to understand, if ere this coffin drives the land, I, King Pericles, have lost this queen, worth all our mundane cost. Who finds her, give her burying. She was the daughter of a king. Besides this treasure for a fee, the gods requite his charity. If thou livest, Pericles, thou hast a heart that ever cracks for woe. This chanced tonight.
Most likely, sir.
Nay, certainly tonight. For look how fresh she looks. They were too rough that threw her to the sea. Make a fire within. Fetch hither all my boxes in my closet. Death may usurp on nature many hours, and yet the fire of life kindle again. The rough and woeful music that we have, cause it to sound, beseech you. I pray you, give her air, gentlemen. This queen will live. She hath not been entranced above 5 hours. See how she begins to blow into life's flower again?
The heavens through you increase our wonder and set up your fame forever.
She is alive. Behold her eyelids, cases to those heavenly jewels which Pericles hath lost. Begin to part their fringes of bright gold. The diamonds of a most praised water doth appear to make the world twice rich. Live and make us weep to hear your fate, fair creature, rare as you seem to be.
Oh, dear Diana, where am I? Where's my lord? What world is this?
Is this not strange?
Most rare.
Hush, my gentle neighbors. Lend me your hands. This matter must be looked to, for her relapse is mortal.
Most honored Cleon, I must needs be gone. My 12 months are expired, and Tyre stands in a litigious peace. You and your lady take from my heart all thankfulness. The gods make up the rest upon you.
Your shakes of fortune, though they haunt you mortally, yet glance full wonderingly on us.
Oh, your sweet queen, that the strict fates had pleased you had brought her hither to have blessed mine eyes with her.
We cannot but obey the powers above us. Could I rage and roar as doth the sea she lies in, yet the end must be as 'tis. My gentle babe Marina, whom for she was born at sea I have named so, here I charge your charity withal, leaving her the infant of your care, beseeching you to give her princely training, that she may be mannered as she is born.
Fear not, my lord, but think your grace that fed my country with your corn, for which the people's prayers still fall upon you, must in your child be thought on. If neglection should therein make me vile, the common body by you relieved would force me to my duty. But if to that my nature need a spur, the gods revenge it on me and mine to the end of generation.
I believe you. Your honor and your goodness teach me to without your vows. Until she be married, madam, by bright Diana, whom we honor, all unscissored, shall this hair of mine remain, though I show ill in it. So I take my leave. But madam, make me blessed in your care in bringing up my child.
I have one myself, who shall not be more dear to my respect than yours, my lord.
Madam, my thanks and prayers.
Will bring your grace even to the edge of the shore?
I will embrace your offer. Come, dearest madam. Oh, no tears, Lycorida, no tears. Look to your little mistress, on whose grace you may depend hereafter. Come, my lord.
Madam, this letter and some certain jewels lay with you in your coffer, which are at your command. Know you the character?
It is my lord's. That I was shipped at sea, I well remember, even on my bearing time, but whether they're delivered by the holy gods, I cannot rightly say. But since King Pericles I ne'er shall look upon again, a vestal livery will I take me to, and never more have joy.
Madam, if this you purpose as you speak, Diana's temple is not distant far, where you may abide till your date expire. Moreover, if you please, a niece of mine shall attend you there.
My recompense is thanks, that's all. Yet my goodwill is great, though the gift small.
Imagine Pericles arrived at Tyre, welcomed and settled to his own desire. His woeful queen we leave at Ephesus, unto Diana there's a votaress. Now to Marina bend your mind, whom our fast-growing scene must find at Tarsus, and by Cleon trained in music, letters, who hath gained of education all the grace which makes high both the art and place of general wonder. But, alack, that monster envy oft the rack of earned praise, Marina's life seeks to take off by treason's knife, and in this kind our Cleon hath one daughter and a full-grown wench, even ripe for the marriage rite. This maid hight Philoten, and it is said for certain in our story she would ever with Marina be. When she would wound with Sharp needle wound the cambric, which she made more sound by hurting it. Or when to the lute she sung and made the night bird mute, this Philoten contends in skill with absolute marrying, who gets all praises which are paid as debts. Now Cleon's wife, with envy rare, a present murderer does prepare for good Marina, that her daughter might stand peerless by this slaughter. The sooner her vile thoughts to stead, Lycorida, our nurse, is dead. And cursed Dionysa hath the pregnant instrument of wrath pressed for this blow. The unborn event I do commend to your content. Only I carry winged time, post on the lame feet of my rhyme, which never could I so convey, unless your thoughts went on my way. Dionysa does appear, with Leonine, a murderer.
Thy oath remember. Thou hast sworn to do it. 'Tis but a blow which never shall be known. Thou canst not do a thing in the world so soon to yield thee so much profit. Let not pity, which even women have cast off, melt thee, but be a soldier.
I will do't, but yet she is a goodly creature.
The fitter then the gods should have her. Here she comes, weeping for her only mistress' death. Thou art resolved.
I am resolved.
I'll strew thy green with flowers. The yellows, blues, the purple violets and marigolds shall as a carpet hang upon thy grave while summer days doth last. Ay me, poor maid, born in a tempest when my mother died, this world is to me as a lasting storm worrying me from my friends.
How now, Marina? Why do you keep alone? How chance my daughter is not with you? Do not consume your blood with sorrowing. Have you a nurse of me? Give me your flowers. With Leonine, walk o'er the marge. Come, the air is quick there. Come, good Leonine, take her by the arm. Walk with her.
I pray you, I'll not bereave you of your servant.
Come, come, I love the king, your father, and yourself with more than foreign heart. We every day expect him here, when he shall come and find our paragon to all reports thus blasted. He will repent the breadth of his great voyage, blame both my lord and me that we have taken no care to your best courses. Go, I pray you, walk and be cheerful again. Reserve that excellent complexion which did steal the eyes of young and old. Care not for me, I can go home alone.
Well, I will go, but yet I have no desire to it.
Oh, come, come. I know 'tis good for you. Walk half an hour, Leonine, at the least. Remember what I have said.
I warrant you, madam.
I'll leave you, sweet lady, for a while. Pray, walk softly. Do not heat your blood. What? I must have care of you.
My thanks, sweet madam. Is this wind westerly that blows?
Southwest.
When I was born, the wind was north.
Was it so?
My father, as nurse says, did never fear, but cried, "Good seamen!" to the sailors, galling his kingly hands, hailing ropes, and clasping to the mast endured a sea that almost burst the deck.
When was this?
When I was born. Never was waves nor wind more violent.
Come, say your prayers.
What mean you?
If you require a little space for prayer, I grant it. Pray, but be not tedious, for the gods are quick of ear, and I am sworn to do my work in haste.
Why will you kill me?
To satisfy my lady.
Why would she have me killed? Now, as I can remember by my troth, I never did her hurt in all my life. I never spake bad word, nor did ill turn to any living. How have I offended, wherein my death might yield her any profit?
My commission is not to reason of the deed, but do it.
You will not do it, for all the world, I hope. You have a gentle heart. I saw you lately when you caught hurt in parting two that fought. Good sooth, it showed well in you. Do so now. Your lady seeks my life. Come you between and save poor me the weaker.
I am sworn and will dispatch.
Arr!
Arr! Villain!
A prize! A prize!
Half part, mates, half part. Come, let's have her aboard suddenly.
Arr!
Arr!
Arr.
These roguing thieves serve the great pirate Valdez, and they have seized Marina. Let her go. There's no hope she will return. I'll swear she's dead and thrown into the sea, but I'll see further. Perhaps they will but please themselves upon her, not carry her aboard. If she remain, whom they have ravished, must by me be slain.
Bolt!
Sir.
Search the market narrowly. Mytilene is full of gallons. We lost too much money this Mart by being too wenchless.
We were never so much out of creatures. We have but poor three, and they can do no more than they can do. And they, with continual action, are even as good as rotten.
Therefore, let us have fresh ones, whate'er we pay for them. If there be not a conscience to be used in every trade, we shall never prosper.
Thou sayest true.
But shall I search the market?
What else, man? The stuff we have, a strong wind will blow it to pieces.
Oh, sir, it's true. There's too unwholesome a conscience. The poor Transylvanian is dead that lay with a little baggage.
Aye, she made him roast meat for worms. But I'll go search the market.
Yeah, 3 or 4 chickens, 1,000 chickens were as pretty a proportion to live quietly, and so give over.
Why to give over, I pray you? Is it a shame to get when we are old?
Oh, our credit comes not in like the commodity. Nor the commodity wages not with the danger. Therefore, if in our youth we could pick up some pretty estate, 'twere not amiss to keep our door hatched. Besides, the sore terms we stand upon with the gods will be strong with us for giving over.
Come, other sorts offend as well as we.
As well as we. Aye, and better too. We offend worse. Neither is our profession any trade. It's no calling. But here comes Bolt.
Arr!
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 Come your ways, masters. You say she's a virgin?
Oh, sir, we doubt it not.
Master, I have gone through for this piece you see. If you like her so, if not, I have lost my earnest.
Bolt, has she any qualities?
She has a good face, speaks well, and has excellent good clothes. There's no farther necessity of qualities can make her be refused.
What's her price, Bolt?
I cannot be baited 1 doit by 1,000 pieces.
Well, follow me, my masters. You shall have your money presently. Wife, take her in. Instruct her what she has to do, that she may not be raw in her entertainment.
Arr!
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 Bolt, take you the marks of her, the color of her hair, complexion, height, her age, with warrant of her virginity, and cry, He that will give most shall have her first. Such a maidenhead were no cheap thing if men were as they have been. Get this done as I command you.
Performance shall follow.
Alack, that Leonine was so slack, so slow. He should have struck, not spoke. Or that these pirates, not enough barbarous, had but o'erboard thrown me for to seek my mother.
Why lament you, pretty one?
That I am pretty.
Come, the gods have done their part in you.
I accuse them not.
You're light into my hands, where you are like to live.
The more my fault to escape his hands where I was to die.
And you shall live in pleasure.
No.
Yes, indeed shall you, and taste gentlemen of all fashions. What, do you stop your ears?
Are you a woman?
And what would you have me be, and I be not a woman?
An honest woman, or not a woman?
Come, you're a young foolish sapling, and you must be bowed as I would have you.
The gods defend me.
If it please the gods to defend you by men, then men must comfort you. Men must feed you. Men must stir you up. Bolts returned. Now, sir, hast thou cried her through the market?
I have drawn her picture with my voice.
And I prithee tell me, how dost thou find the inclination of the people, especially of the younger sort?
Faith, they listened to me as they would have hearkened to their father's testament. There was a Spaniard's mouth watered, and he went to bed to her very description.
Oh, you come hither a while. You have fortunes coming upon you. Mark me. You must seem to do that fearfully which you commit willingly, despite profit, where you have despised profit, where you have most gain. To weep that you live as you do makes pity in your lovers. Seldom but that pity begets you a good opinion, and that opinion a mere profit.
I understand you not.
Oh, take her home, mistress, take her home. These blushes of hers must be quenched with some present practice.
Thou sayest true, Faith, so they must, for a bride goes to that with shame, which is her way to go with warrant.
Faith, some do, and some do not. But, mistress, if I have bargained for the joint,
Thou mayst cut a morsel off the spit.
I may so.
Who should deny it? Come, young one, I like the manner of your garments well.
Aye, by my faith, they shall not be changed yet.
Bold, spend thou this in the town. Report what a sojourner we have. When nature framed this piece, she meant thee a good turn. Therefore say what a paragon she is, and thou hast the harvest of thine own report.
I warrant you, mistress, thunder shall not await the beds of eels as my giving out her beauty stirs up the lewdly inclined. I'll bring her home some tonight.
Oh, come your ways, follow me.
If fires be hot, knives sharp, or waters deep, untied, I still my virgin knot will keep. Diana, aid my purpose.
What have we to do with Diana, pray you? Will you go with us?
Why are you foolish? Can it be undone?
Oh, Dionysa, such a piece of slaughter the sun and moon ne'er looked upon.
I think you'll turn a child again.
Were I chief lord of all this spacious world, I'd give it to undo the deed. A lady much less in blood than virtue, yet a princess to equal any crown in the earth in the justice of compare. What canst thou say when noble Pericles shall demand his child?
That she is dead. Nurses are not the fates. To foster is not ever to preserve. He died at night, I'll say so. Who can cross it?
Of all the faults beneath the heavens, the gods do like this worst.
Be one of those that thinks the petty wrens of Tarsus will fly hence and open this to Pericles. I do shame to think of what a noble strain you are, and of how coward a spirit. Be it so then. Yet none does know but you how she came dead, nor none can know, Leonine being gone. She did disdain my child, and stood between her and her fortunes. None would look on her, but cast their gazes on Marina's face. And though you call my course unnatural, you, not your child, well-loving, yet I find it greets me as an enterprise of kindness performed to your sole daughter.
Heavens forgive it.
And as for Pericles, what should he say? We wept after her hearse, and yet we mourn. Her monument is almost finished, and her epitaphs in glittering golden characters express a general praise to her, and care in us at whose expense 'tis done.
Thou art like the harpy, which to betray doth with thine angel's face seize with thy eagle's talons.
You're like one that superstitiously do swear to the gods that winter kills the flies. But yet I know you'll do as I
Thus time we waste, and long leagues make short. Sail seas in cockles have, and wish but fort, making to take our imagination from bourne to bourne, region to region. By you being pardoned, we commit no crime, to use one language in each several clime where our scenes seem to live. I do beseech you to learn of me, who stand in the gaps to teach you the stages of our story. Pericles is now again thwarting the wayward seas, attended on by many a lord and knight, to see his daughter, all his life's delight. Old Helicanus goes along. Behind is left to govern it, you bear in mind, old Aeschines, whom Helicanus late advanced in time to a great and high estate. Well-sailing ships and bounteous winds have brought this king to Tarsus. Think his pilot thought, so with his steerage shall your thoughts go on, to fetch his daughter home, who first is gone. Like motes and shadows, see them move a while. Your ears unto your eyes I'll reconcile.
Dumb show. Enter Pericles on one side, Cleon and Dionysa on the other. Cleon shows Pericles the tomb, whereat Pericles makes lamentation, and in a mighty passion departs. Cleon and Dionysa exit.
See how belief may suffer by foul show. This borrowed passion stands for true old woe. And Pericles in sorrow all devoured, with sighs shot through and biggest tears o'ershowered, leaves Tarsus and again embarks. He swears never to cut his face, nor wash his face, nor cut his hairs. He puts on sackcloth and to sea. He bears a tempest which his mortal vessel tears. Let Pericles believe his daughter's dead, and bear his courses to be ordered by Lady Fortune. while our scene must play his daughter's woe and heavy well-a-day in her unholy service. Patience then, and think you now are all in Mytilene.
Did you ever hear the like?
No, nor never shall do in such a place as this, she being once gone.
But to have divinity preached there. Did you ever dream of such a thing?
No, no. Come, I am for no more bawdy houses. Shall's go hear the Vestals sing.
I'll do anything now that is virtuous, but I am out of the road of rutting forever.
Well, I had rather twice the worth of her than she had ne'er come here.
Fie upon her. She's able to freeze the god Priapus and undo a whole generation. We must either get her ravished or be rid of her. Ugh. When she should do for her clients her fitment, and do me the kindness of our profession. She has me her reasons, her prayers, her knees, that she would make a Puritan of the devil.
Faith, I must ravish her, or she'll make all our swearers priests.
The pox upon her green sickness for me.
Faith, there's no way to be rid on it, but by the way to the pox. Here comes the Lord Lysimachus disguised.
Huh?
We should have both lord and loun if the peevish baggage were but to give way to customers.
Now, how a dozen of virginities?
How the gods to bless your honor.
I am glad to see your honor in good health.
Oh, we have one here, sir, if she would, but there never came her like in Mytilene.
If she do the deeds of darkness, thou would say?
Your honor knows what 'tis to say well enough.
Well, call forth! Call forth!
For flesh and blood, sir, white and red, you shall see a rose. Oh, and she were a rose indeed. If she had but...
What, prithee?
Oh, sir, I can be modest.
Oh, that dignifies the renown of a bawd no less than it gives a good report to a number to be chaste.
Here comes that which grows to the stalk, never plucked yet, I can assure you. Is she not a fair creature?
Faith, she would serve after a long voyage at sea. Well, there's for you. Leave us.
I beseech your honor, give me leave a word, and I'll have done presently.
Well, I beseech you, do.
First, I would have you note this is an honorable man.
I desire to find him so that I may worthily note him.
Next, he's the governor of this country and a man whom I am bound to.
If he govern the country, you are bound to him indeed. But how honorable he is in that, I know not.
I pray you, without any more virginal fencing, will you use him kindly? He will line your apron with gold.
What he will do graciously, I will thankfully receive.
How you done?
Come, we will leave his honor and her together. Go thy ways.
Now, pretty one, how long have you been in this trade?
What trade, sir?
Why, I cannot name it, but I shall offend.
I cannot be offended with my trade. Please you to name it.
Why, the house you dwell in proclaims you to be a creature of sail.
Do you know this to be a place of such resort, and will come unto it? I hear say you are of honorable parts and are the governor of this place.
Oh, you have heard something of my power and stand aloof for more serious wooing. But I protest to thee, pretty one, my authority shall not see thee, or else look friendly upon thee. Come, bring me to some private place. Come.
If you were born to honor, show it now. If put upon you, make the judgment good that thought you worthy of it.
Wait, how's this? Some more. Be sage.
For me, that am a maid, though most ungentle fortune have placed me in this sty, where since I came, diseases have been sold dearer than physic, that the gods would set me free from this unhallowed place.
I did not think thou couldst have spoke so well, nor dreamt thou couldst. Had I brought hither a corrupted mind, thy speech had altered it. Hold, here's gold for thee. Persevere in that clear way thou goest, and the gods strengthen thee.
The good gods preserve you.
For me, be you thoughten that I came with no ill intent, for to me, the very doors and windows savor vilely. Fare thee well. Thou art a piece of virtue, and I doubt not that thy training hath been noble. Oh, a curse upon him. Die he like a thief that robs thee of thy goodness. If thou dost hear from me, it shall be for thy good.
Beseech your honor.
Thou art, thou damned doorkeeper. Your house, but for this virgin that doth prop it, would sink and overwhelm you. Away.
How's this? We must take another course with you. If your peevish chastity shall undo a whole household, let me be gelded like a spaniel. Come your ways.
Whither would you have me?
I must have your maidenhead taken off, or the common hangman shall execute it. Come your way. We'll have no more gentlemen driven away. Come your way, I say.
How now? What's the matter?
Worse and worse, mistress. She has here spoken holy words to the Lord Lysimachus.
Oh, abominable.
He makes our profession, as it were, to stink for the face of the gods.
Mary, hang her up forever.
The nobleman would have dealt with her like a nobleman, and she sent him away as cold as snowball, saying his prayers too.
Bolt, oh, take her away, use her at thy pleasure, crack the glass of her virginity, and make the rest malleable.
And if she were a thorny piece of ground, then she shall be plowed.
Hark, hark you gods.
Oh, she conjures. Away with her. Would she had never come within my doors. Mary, hang you. She's born to undo us.
Come, mistress. Come your way with me.
Whither wilt thou have me?
To take from you the jewel you hold so dear.
Prithee, tell me one thing first.
Come now, your one thing.
What canst thou wish thine enemy to be?
Why, I could wish him to be my master, or rather, my mistress.
Neither of these are so bad as thou art, since they do better thee in their command. Thou holdst a place for which the painest fiend of hell would not in reputation change.
What would you have me do? Go to the wars, where a man may serve 7 years for the loss of a leg, and have not money enough in the end to buy him a wooden one?
Do anything but this thou dost. Empty the old receptacles, or common shores of filth. Serve by indenture to the common hangman. Any of these ways are yet better than this. Here's gold for thee. If that thy master would gain by me, proclaim that I can sing, weave, sew, and dance, and will undertake all these to teach. I doubt not, but this populous city will yield many scholars.
But can you teach all this you speak of?
Prove that I cannot. Take me home again, and prostitute me to the basest groom.
Well, I will see what I can do for thee. If I can place thee, I will.
But amongst honest women?
Faith, my acquaintances lies little amongst them. But since my master and my mistress hath brought you, there's no going but by their consent. Therefore, I will make them acquainted with your purpose, and I doubt not, but I shall find them tactful enough. Come, I'll do for thee what I can. Come your ways.
Marina thus the brothel scapes and chances into an honest house, our story says. She sings like one immortal, and she dances as goddess-like to her admired lays. Thus pupils lacks she none of noble race, who pour their bounty on her, and her gain she gives the cursed bawd. Here we her place, and to her father turn our thoughts again, where we left him on the sea. We there him lost, where driven before the winds he is arrived here, where his daughter dwells, and on this coast suppose him now at anchor. The city strived god Neptune's annual feast to keep, from whence Lysimachus our Tyrian ship espies. His banner sable trimmed with rich expense, and to him in his barge with fervor hies. In your supposing once more put your sight of heavy Pericles. Think this his bark, where what is done in action more, if might, shall be discovered. Please you sit and hark.
Where is Lord Helicanus? He can resolve you. Oh, here he is. Sir, there is a barge put off from Mytilene, and in it is Lysimachus, the governor, who craves to come aboard. What is your will?
That he have his. Call up some gentlemen.
Oh, gentlemen, my lord calls.
Doth your lordship call?
Gentlemen, there is some of worth would come aboard. I pray, greet him fairly.
Sir, this is the man that can and ought to would resolve you.
Hail, reverend sir, the gods preserve you. Being on shore, honoring of Neptune's triumphs, seeing this goodly vessel ride before us, I made to it to know of whence you are.
First, what is your place?
I am the governor of this place you lie before.
Our vessel is of Tyre, in it the king, a man who for this 3 months hath not spoken to anyone, nor taken sustenance, but to prorogue his grief.
Upon what ground is his distemperature?
It would be too tedious to repeat, but the main grief springs from the loss of a beloved daughter and a wife.
May we not see him?
You may, but bootless is your sight. He will not speak to any.
Yet let me obtain my wish.
Behold him. This was a goodly person, till the disaster that one mortal night drove him to this.
Sir King, all hail. The gods preserve you. Hail, royal sir.
It is in vain. He will not speak to you.
Sir, we have a maid in Mytilene. I durst wager would win some words of him.
Oh, 'tis well bethought. She, questionless, with her sweet harmony and other chosen attractions, would allure and make a battery through his defended ports, which now are midway stopped. She is all happy as the fairest of all.
Sure, all effectless, yet nothing will omit that bears recovery's name. But since your kindness we have stretched thus far, let us beseech you that for our gold we may provision have.
Oh, sir, a courtesy which, if we should deny, the most just God would then inflict our province. Yet, once more, let me entreat to know at large the cause of your king's sorrow.
Sit, sir. I will recount it to you. But see, I am prevented.
Oh, here's the lady that I sent for. Welcome, fair one. Is not a goodly presence?
She's a gallant lady.
She's such a one that, were I well assured came of a gentle kind and noble stock, I wish no better choice and think me rarely wed. Fair one, all goodness that consists in beauty. Expect even here, where is a kingly patient, if that thy prosperous and artificial feet can draw him but to answer thee in aught, thy sacred physic shall receive such pay as thy desires can wish.
Sir, I will use my utmost skill in his recovery.
Come, let us leave her, and the gods make her prosperous.
Oh, my fair North Star, I have held to you dearly. I had asked you to steer me till one cloud scattered night. I got lost in my travels. I met Leo the lion, met a king and met a giant with their errant light. There's the wind and the rain and the mercy of the fallen, who say it's not their place to know what's right. There's the weak and the strong and the beds that have no answers. That's where I may rest my head tonight. And if your sister or your brother were stumbling on their last mile in a self-inflicted exile, you'd wish for them a humble friend. And I hope someday that the best of Falstaff's planners give me 7 half-built manors where half dreams may dream without end. There's the wind and the rain and the mercy of the fallen, who say, hey, it's not my place to know what's right. There's the weak and the strong and the many stars that guide us. We have some of them inside us.
Mark T, your music?
No, nor looked on me.
See, she will speak to him.
Hail, sir, my Lord Lindier.
Huh?
I am a maid that hath endured a grief might equal yours if both were justly weighed. The wayward fortune did malign my state. My derivation was from ancestors who stood equivalent with mighty kings. But time hath rooted out my parentage, and to the world with awkward casualties bound me in servitude. I will desist. But there something glows upon my cheek and whispers in mine ear, go not till he speak.
My fortunes, parentage, good parentage, equal mine. Was it not thus? What say you?
I said, my lord, if you did know my parentage, you would not do me violence.
I do think so. Pray you, turn your eyes upon me. You're like something that... What countrywoman? Of these shores?
No, nor of any shores. Yet I was mortally brought forth and am no other than I appear.
I am great with woe, and shall deliver weeping. My dearest wife was like this maid, and such my daughter might have been. Where do you live?
Where I'm but a stranger.
Where were you bred? And how achieved you these endowments which make you more rich to woe?
If I should tell my history, it would seem like lies disdained in the reporting.
Prithee speak. Falseness cannot come from thee, for thou lookst as modest as justice, but thou seemst a palace for crowned truth to dwell. What were thy friends? Didst thou not say thou camest from good descending?
So indeed I did.
Report thy parentage. I think thou saidst thou had been tossed from wrong to injury, and that thou thoughtst thy griefs might equal mine if both were opened.
I said no more, but what my thoughts did warrant me was likely.
Tell thy story. Thy name, my most kind virgin.
My name is Marina.
Oh, I am mocked, and thou by some insensate god sent hither to make the world to laugh at me.
Patience, good sir, or here I'll cease.
Nay, I'll be patient. Thou little knowest how that has startled me to call thyself Marina.
The name was given me by one that had some power. My father, and a king.
How a king's daughter and called Marina?
You said you would believe me. But not to be a troubler of your peace, I'll end here.
But are you flesh and blood? Where were you born, and wherefore called Marina?
For I was born at sea.
At sea? What mother?
My mother was the daughter of a king who died the minute I was born. As my good nurse Lycorida hath oft delivered weeping.
Oh, stop there a little. This is the rarest dream that ere dull sleep did mock sad fools withal. This cannot be my daughter buried. Well, where were you bred? I'll hear you more to the bottom of your story and never interrupt you.
You scorn. Believe me, 'twere best I did give o'er.
I will believe you by the syllable of what you shall deliver, yet give me leave. How came you in these parts? Where were you bred?
The king, my father, did in Tarsus leave me, till cruel Cleon with his wicked wife did seek to murder me, and having wooed a villain to attempt it, having drawn to do it, a crew of pirates came and rescued me, brought me to Mytilene. Good sir, whither will you have me? Why do you weep? It may be you think me an impostor. No, good faith, I am the daughter to King Pericles, if good King Pericles be.
Oh, Helicanus!
Pause, my lord.
Thou art a grave and noble counselor, most wise in general. Tell me, if thou canst, what this maid is, or what is like to be, that thus hath made me weep.
I know not, but here's the regent, sir, of Mytilene, speaks nobly of her.
She never would tell her parentage, being demanded that. She would sit still and weep.
Oh, Helicanus, strike me, honored sir. Give me a gash, put me to present pain, lest this great sea of joys rushing upon me o'erbear the shores of my mortality and drown me with their sweetness. Oh, come hither, thou that begettest him that did thee beget. Thou that was born at sea, buried at Tarsus, and found at sea again. This is Marina. What was thy mother's name? Tell me but that, for truth can never be confirmed enough, though doubts did ever sleep.
First, sir, I pray, what is your title?
I am Pericles of Tyre. But tell me now my drowned queen's name, as in the rest you said thou hast been godlike perfect, the heir of kingdoms and another life to Pericles thy father.
Is it no more to be your daughter than to say my mother's name was Ty-eesa? Ty-eesa was my mother who did end the minute I began.
Now blessing on thee, rise, thou art my child. Give me fresh garments. Mine own Helicanus, she is not dead at Tarsus as she should have been by savage Cleon. She shall tell thee all. When thou shalt kneel and justify in knowledge, she is thy very princess. Who is this?
Sir, 'tis the governor of Mytilene, who, hearing of your melancholy state, did come to see you.
I embrace you. Give me my robes. I am wild in my beholding. Oh. Heavens bless my girl. But hark, what music? Tell Helicanus, my Marina, tell him more point by point, for yet he seems to doubt how sure you are my daughter. But what music?
My lord, I hear none.
None. The music of the spheres. List, my Marina.
It is not good to cross him. Give him way.
Rarest sounds. Do you not hear?
Music, my lord? I
Most
hear...
heavenly music. Nips me unto listening, and thick slumber hangs upon my eyes. Let me rest.
A pillow for his head, so leave him all. Well, my companion friends, if this but answer to my just belief, I'll well remember you.
My temple stands in Ephesus. Hie thee thither, and do upon mine altar sacrifice. There, when my maiden priests attend together, reveal how thou at sea didst lose thy wife. To mourn thy crosses with thy daughters call, and give them repetition to the life. Or perform my bidding, or thou livest in woe. Do it and be happy by my silver bow. Awake and tell thy dream.
Celestial Diane, I will obey thee. Helicanus?
Sir?
My purpose was for Tarsus, there to strike the inhospitable Cleon. But I'm for other service first. Toward Ephesus turn our blown sails. As soon as I'll tell thee why. Shall we refresh us, sir, upon your shore?
With all my heart. And when you come ashore, I have another suit.
You shall prevail were it to woo my daughter. For it seems you have been noble towards her.
Sir, lend me your arm.
Come, my Marina.
Now our sands are almost run, more a little and then done. This my last boon give me, for such kindness must relieve me, that you aptly will suppose what pageantry, what feats, what shows the regent made to greet the king. Now he is promised to be wife to fair Marina, but in no wise till he had done his sacrifice as Diane bade, whereto, being bound, the interim pray you all confound. At Ephesus the temple see our king and all his company, that he can hither come so soon is by your fancies thankful doom.
Hail, Diane! To perform thy just command, I here confess myself the king of Tyre, who, frighted from my country, did wed Pentapolis the fair Ty-eesa. At sea in childbed died she, but brought forth a maid child called Marina, whom, O goddess, yet wears thy silver livery. She at Tarsus was nursed with Cleon, who at 14 years he sought to murder. But her better stars brought her to Mytilene, against whose shore riding her fortunes brought her aboard us, where by her most clear remembrance she made known herself my daughter.
Voice and favor, you are, oh, royal Pericles.
What means this nun? She dies. Help, gentlemen.
Noble sir, if you have told Diana's altar true, this is your wife.
Reverend Appearer, no. I threw her overboard with these very arms.
Upon this coast, I warned you.
'Tis most certain.
Look to the lady. Oh, she's overjoyed. Early one blustering morn, this lady was thrown upon this shore. I oped the coffin, found there rich jewels, recovered her, and placed her here in Diana's temple.
May we see them?
Great sir, they shall be brought to you to my house, whither I invite you. Look, Ty-eesa is recovered.
Oh, let me look. Are you not Pericles? Like him you spake, like him you are. Did you not name a tempest, a birth and death?
Oh, the voice of dead Ty-eesa.
That Ty-eesa am I, supposed dead and drowned.
Oh, immortal Diane!
Now I know you better. There, when we with tears parted Pentapolis, the king my father gave you such a ring.
This, no more, you gods. Your present kindness makes my past misery sports. Oh, come, be buried a second time within these arms.
My heart leaps to be gone into my mother's bosom.
Look here, flesh of thy flesh, Ty-eesa, thy burden at sea, and called Marina, for she was yielded there.
Blessed and mine own.
Hail, madam, and my queen.
I know you not.
You have heard me say when I did fly from Tyre, I left behind an ancient substitute. Greet him, dear Ty-eesa. This is he. Now do I long to hear how you were found, how possibly preserved, and who to thank besides the gods for this great miracle.
Lord Saruman, my lord, this man through whom the gods have shown their power that can from first to last resolve you.
Reverend sir, the gods can have no mortal officer more like a god than you. Will you deliver how this dead queen relives?
I will, my lord. Beseech you, first go with me to my house, where shall be shown you all was found with her, how she came placed here in the temple, no needful thing omitted.
Pure Diane, bless thy vision. Ty-eesa, this prince, the fair betrothed of your daughter, shall marry her at Pentapolis. But now, that which this 14 years no razor has touched, to grace thy marriage day, I'll beautify.
Lord Saruman hath letters of good credit. Sir, my father's dead.
Heavens make a star of him. Yet there my queen will celebrate their nuptials, and ourselves will in that kingdom spend our following days. Our son and daughter shall in Tyre reign. Lord Saruman, we do our longing stay to hear the rest untold. Sir, leads the way.
You have in Pericles his queen and daughter seen, although assailed with fortune fierce and keen, virtue, preserved from fell destruction's blast, led on by heaven and crowned with joy at last. In Helicanus may you well descry a figure of truth, of faith, of loyalty. For wicked Cleon and his wife, when fame had spread his cursed deed to the honored name of Pericles, to rage the city turn. That him and his they in his palace burn. The gods for murder seemed so content to punish, although not done, but meant. So on your patience evermore attending, new joy wait on you. Here our play has ended.